Scott really likes doing the intros. I mean, I know how he talks about it every time.
He's so
and then,
good. He's got it memorized. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it memorized. It's really his passion. He was telling me the other day. So
Yeah, but I don't like to do it too much. I like to.
Give the people a taste. See what it tastes
taste
like.
of the-
Let me just do a part of the interview. What the hell, dude? I can't do it today. I don't even know where the fuck that word came from.
yeah, you're like interview.
All of a sudden, I was like this Italian guy being interviewed.
The Joystick Show.
Aloha and welcome back to the Joystick Show, a weekly podcast where three friends from Hawaii talk story about pop culture things that bring us joy. Shakas Mahalas for checking us out. If can, please like and subscribe on any and every podcast platform, also on YouTube. A 5-star review is greatly appreciated and helps us out a ton. I'm your co-host Drake, and that's Thomas.
What up, what up?
And that's Scott.
How's it?
And how's it to 163? That is the number of the episode that we are currently doing right now. And that's the number we're on now. So super proud of it.
Nice.
And
Hey, everything you did so far, I applaud it because I couldn't get any of that out. I tried to do the intro. That ain't happening.
yeah, you gotta head over to our Patreon if you want to listen to those bloopers.
God, dude, we got to start a Patreon. If you think we need to start a Patreon, message us anywhere on social media. Because, and if we start a Patreon, we could actually edit this stuff appropriately because we could hire someone. And that might go a lot better.
And I don't know if you noticed, before I spoke, I looked down at my mic, make sure I wasn't muted like last time. So it's going pretty good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, we're
Appreciate
pros,
that.
dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're so
We're
pro.
really coming together.
Good thing, like, when you look at our podcast, as it's labeled, it says comedy first. But I don't know if only we think it's funny or if everybody else thinks it's funny. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, it cracks me up. The fact
Right.
that you couldn't even
Same.
say anything last week. But yeah, let's talk about Batman because he is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he's the first superhero ever to be getting a star. I am so confused about this in some ways. Because
Yeah.
it's not really actors, it's sometimes directors, it's people who
Yeah.
have been in Hollywood. But he's a fictional character?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, dude, Scott. I know you're one of his biggest fans. I know you went to Gotham last year.
How much
to
money are
see
you
him,
spending on
and,
Wayne Tech?
Yeah, it's
I've got everything in that.
yeah.
I don't know where my money's going right now.
Yeah, I mean, the
You got
Fed
life,
just-
my life savings is in Wayne Tech right now.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, I
telling me it's
mail
not
it.
real?
I mail it every week to Wayne Tech.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm supposed to be getting a big return when I retire. So I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening.
1-800 Gotham Way.
How do you? Yeah, that's the place.
That's it, right? Wow.
Yeah, well,
It's coming
obviously it's a
straight
lie.
to me.
So
Yeah,
I don't know how this is gonna work, man. I really don't. I know that Jim Lee's gonna be there. Any comic fan,
comic band,
any comic fan knows Jim Lee. He's worked at Marvel.
Comic
he's
book
worked
band?
at Image.
I
Damn.
read comic book bands. All right, sorry.
Okay, you take it away because I can't speak. But Jim Lee's gonna be there.
Jim Lee's gonna be there. I assume every single Batman that ever was is gonna be there.
Do you think?
Proud.
I'm actually curious about
doubt
it. We got Ben Affleck. We got
Michael Keaton,
Michael Keaton, Robert Pattinson,
George Clooney,
George Clooney. Yeah.
the one guy, Bill West or Bob.
Adam West.
Adam West.
Adam West.
Damn, dude.
Bob West. Ooh.
The disrespect.
People like that guy, you know.
I wasn't
Was that
alive back
Bobby?
then, okay?
Yeah, he was in Family Guy.
He was a Family Guy. Kevin Conroy's Ghost. The guy from.
Oh, that is disrespectful. Love you, Kevin Conroy. We think so highly of you. I promise.
Yeah, dude.
For
Please.
sure, yes. I love.
Yeah,
I
you
just love
deserve
that
you
guy.
deserve to be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame as Batman.
That's true.
And what about the one guy from Drew Carey show that played Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold?
Oh yeah, the fuck, what is his name? He's hilarious.
Yeah.
The guy in
Well. All right. Yeah.
the guy.
That guy.
I don't know.
Give me a sec.
Um,
You guys
I'm gonna
lost
look it
me on
up.
That one.
Well, I hope
you know him.
I hope the
He's the
star
one
in
in,
itself is just the
yeah.
bat signal logo, right? Because that'd be a little bit more iconic. I think if you put Batman on there, it's just weird, right? Like,
Well, which logo?
because everybody knows
like,
the symbol.
Oh,
True.
Diedrich Bader.
Oh, Dietrich Bader, yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
We do
Google
that.
him. You know his face. I thought his name would
Google
be more
it.
familiar, but
Okay, Google it.
I'm like, God, Thomas is not
face.
going to know this.
Yeah. Dietrich Bader.
So which symbol are we going with, though? Are we talking about the one from Tim Burton? Are we talking about the one that's kind of been popping up, like Fat Bat, as I call it, that was on
the
Ben
fat
Affleck's
bat, the thick, girthy
chest?
one.
Yeah, is it Robert Pattinson that's like the leftover gun? Like, which one do you think is the most iconic Batman symbol?
I think you got to go Tim Burton. In my opinion, you got to go Tim Burton because that's when Batman first came on the scene. When that original cast of that Batman, I think Batman Returns, right? Where it was Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, and all the
Dietrich.
Dietrich. Dietrich Pattinson, Glover, and it's just like it's iconic, right? It's kind of it's what made Batman kind of popular for the majority of the fanship now. So I think that could I'd make the argument for that, but
I would argue
I'm
with
open.
you. I think that is one of the most iconic Batman symbols. And then putting the logo behind or in front of like a yellow background is so iconic. It made it pop. Everybody knew it. It was like one of those global marketing plans that we see so much in like amazing shows and movies now. I think that's the one. I don't know which Batman will be there, but again, Jim Lee has drawn Batman for so many years. He's, I believe, the president of DC. Like, I think in total, like, not just DC Studios, right? I think he kind of covers everything. And so I don't think there's a better representative to accept the star if it is going to be him. But it would be cool to see some of the other people who have portrayed Batman there as well. Any of them. Honestly, any of them would be really sick. So it's really cool. I think this really speaks to the age that we're in and that where comic book movies are because... Dude, can you imagine, 10 years ago, Iron Man getting a Walk of Fame? And, like, not saying he's gonna, but, like, even Spider-Man, I feel like is a reach, but, like, something about Batman works over years. I mean, when did Batman come out? 1930-something? So it's just insane that almost 100 years of Batman, we're here, and that he's getting a star, a fictional character on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I think is incredible. That's wild.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It is crazy. I also think of like the other way, like people who aren't into comics and like that. Like, I wonder how they feel about like, oh, so I guess this is all a joke, Like getting a star.
No.
Well, because like there is that
maybe,
thing like
but-
you have to pay for a star as well. Like I guess you get offered and then you gotta
You gotta pay for it? I didn't
you
know
gotta
that.
pay for it. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, I've heard this brought up like a few different places on like podcasts, and I wonder if people get offered it and they're like, well, I don't want to pay that, so I'm good. Like
No.
it's kind of like hearing that seems kind of weird. And yeah, I don't know.
It's like the halftime show. Like, how you got to pay to be in the halftime show, but how many people actually like turn it down?
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're instantly going to be iconic forever. The halftime show is arguably one of the biggest public concerts in pop culture now. Like, you don't turn it down. And the Hollywood Walk of Fame is like arguably one of the like, you're literally cemented in time as Hollywood stardom. And you're right. I don't know. DC probably gets to write it off too. They're like, oh, fuck, Hollywood star Walk of Fame.
Yeah. And I
You
mean,
know?
it is cool. Like, I think it's awesome. But I've definitely seen the other side. I can hear people being like, this guy's not even real.
Okay.
Like, who are they putting him next to?
Yeah.
And then, like,
now I'm trying to think of like which actor would have turned it down that doesn't have one. Like who could it be?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Probably.
Maybe. Because I got to go down there? No, I'm good.
Yeah. Who do I have to be?
Too busy cobbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making the best shoes.
Too busy being the greatest actor that's ever lived. So
Can't wait for that
just doesn't
movie.
have it.
Yeah.
What is
Cobbler
which one?
movie.
Is he really
with
doing a shoe
Adam
making
Sandler?
movie?
No, maybe eventually he'll make a movie about making shoes because he's done it for like years and he's like, I know how to do this now.
Yeah.
Now I can do the role.
Yeah.
He's so method. You know?
That's too deep of a cut, man. Like, I can't even follow you at that
He has
point.
his own small business method.
Yeah.
Have
You know
my
that
own
Method
LLC.
soap brand?
Method.
Yeah. Daniel
yeah.
Day-Lewis, for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
But anyways, this is a crazy time in comic book history, and I think it's super freaking cool and wild that it's a DC character over Marvel. You know, if you just look at like what cinema's done with like DC compared to Marvel lately, but I think it's awesome, and I think it makes a ton of sense for me, and I'm stoked about it. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on. We are getting a 7th season of Black Mirror, and they announced the cast today. It's stacked. Scott, do you want to go through the list of the different actors?
Yes, because I'm so good at reading names. Let's get it, dude. Okay.
That's a deep cut for us. Go back and listen to the other
Dude,
episodes.
he's so good at reading names.
Don't get too angry at me if I don't read it right.
Or
Let's
dude,
start
'cause I
with
want to hear it.
Paul Giamatti. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, so we got Issa Rae. That I might be saying that wrong, but Issa Rae, Aquafina, Peter
So go into the
Capaldi.
what? Start with a name you don't know the most.
Well, I'm reading this list and she's the first one on it. All right.
Oh, is that the okay? I
She
got
got top billing on this list right here. It's just
dang, dude.
clockwise. I see little pictures, so it's like it's showing me, you know.
Okay.
So we'll start again.
Midnight.
Issa Rae or Issa Rae. Sorry,
Yep.
Rae. Aquafina, Peter Capaldi,
Yeah.
Emma Corrin,
Okay.
Paul Giamatti,
Yeah.
Rashida Jones,
Oh,
Chris
dang.
O'Dowd, Tracy Ellis, Ross.
Yeah.
It went over here. I didn't realize. Jimmy Simpson and Harriet Walter.
Oh, dang.
Pretty good.
Google it, guys, if you don't know what they look like.
Google it.
Google
where
it.
are you? Where do you Google it? Because I'm on.
This is
I'm looking at the
this is
Hook
on
article.
Deadline.
Deadline. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Is there more? Did
Deadline.
I miss some? Did
No,
Deadline
no, no.
leave some out?
You got them
Okay.
all. But like, okay, so all these to me, superstars in a lot of ways, all of them make sense. The one that kind of sticks out to me, I don't know if you guys agree, is
Uh-oh.
let's see, Kristen Miladio. Man, that was
Wow.
jacked up.
Rub it
Scott,
out.
is that you?
That was a great impression.
Stop freaking taking over me right now. I feel like I'm a seance. But anyways, she's going to be in the Penguin show as well. She was also the mother in How I Met Your Mother. The reason why she sticks out is because she's in a really popular episode of Black Mirror. I want to say it was season 4 or 5. And that Star Trek episode that I think it was Emmy nominated. I don't know if it won an Emmy, but it was Emmy nominated. And they rarely do return actors. So for her to be like a return actor, I think is just really interesting. So I like wonder what they're gonna do with her.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What, that's the thing.
No,
that
yeah, I
sticks
wonder if
out
they'll
to me.
touch up, like, if they'll dive back into an older episode and see what's
Dude.
going on now. Because the way that one ended, that Star Trek one, is like the guy ended up getting screwed, but maybe there's like someone else who was doing that too. They can dive into like maybe the one we saw was a copy of something else that's still existing. You know, like how many copies
Yeah.
did this guy make of that? So
Yeah,
I'm
'cause it was
interested. That was a
video game
really cool
studio.
episode. Yeah.
So cool. It was so good, and like it was so like dark too. The way he would like mess with them and keep getting eviler and eviler, and like and he's blown up. It's Jesse Clemens, I think is his name, and he's like a superstar in his own right. So, dude, if this would be a first, I think, for a Black Mirror episode, kind of returning to a story, and it makes me wonder if the Twilight Zone has revisited stories too, from like a different.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because like I think
Yeah.
for me, this is like the closest thing. I know we got a new version of the Twilight Zone, but like this to me is new Twilight Zone. Every time a new season comes out, I don't know what we're gonna get. It deals with things that we interact with new technology, with AI, with phones, with virtual reality, with all these different things, and it does it in this really creepy, twisted way, and it keeps like keeping me on my toes. But I would be stoked to revisit a story, and I hope it's that Star Trek one.
Yeah, same. Well said.
Yeah. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on this?
Nah, just excited. I think Black Mirror has been consistent, so par for the course. Let's get it. I'm ready to see it.
Yeah. And we talked about Chris O'Dowd. I'm stoked about that too, just because I've been watching Big Door Prize, and he's a sleeper funny guy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. He's
man
charming.
in a serious role.
Definitely.
Also, I saw this little tidbit on the articles below, and it says here on The Hollywood Reporter that Netflix is taking another shot at an animated series based on Magic the Gathering where the Russo brothers are showrunners.
Wow, really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Okay.
we can look forward to that when that announcement gets bigger and there's more stuff to talk about with that.
We gotta tie in our
sounds tight.
friends, over at Infinity Bros podcast and bring them on because they are Magic the Gathering pros, and you're the Magic Gathering pro, but you got a lot of other stuff going on, so we gotta make sure that happens soon. That'd be great.
Math.
Yeah. So this week it has also been Netflix Geeked Week, and a part of that is a bunch of new announcements. There's all kind of cool merch they're dropping, and like it looks like the Marvel universe the way they're kind of like tagging everything together. But one of their top shows, and it kind of had middling reviews, but I still appreciated what they did with it, was Avatar: The Last Airbender. And we finally are introduced to who is going to play Toph, which is Mia Sech. Yeah, I feel like Scott this week. I don't know how to say it anyway.
Scott, go ahead and say it.
I think it's Mia Chechech.
Oh, 666.
That's right.
Oh, sorry.
Actually,
oh,
you
it's
know what?
messed up.
That's
Well, how do you say her name? Let's do
I
it.
have no idea.
Maya Kech.
Can't catch.
Spell it out.
It's not
Looking-
phonetically. CECH.
CECH. Yeah. Looking at her though, are we getting Toph vibes?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Why,
Not no.
I'm just now looking.
She
I
definitely.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she could. Yeah, you got to put the buns in the hair
You see
and
the
then
side by sides?
Yeah, it
I
looks-
do.
looks
I
pretty
do.
good.
I don't know if she can be like as tough. And I guess like I'm not familiar with this actress. I don't know what she's capable of, but
Yeah.
I just can't tell just by the picture. But I love Toph, and I think that's kind of where
Yeah.
I want to go. It's like I feel like this is a character in Avatar: The Last Airbender that I think I like the most.
Yes.
Tr-
You want to see her
truthfully-
feet? I get it.
Oh, she's a child, dude.
Whoa,
Take it
yeah.
easy.
I don't know about that. I don't want to see
Well, what I'm
anybody's
saying is,
feet.
I know, it's what I'm
of,
saying.
a,
what I'm
of a
saying
person this age.
is that this person's gonna have to. To me, Toph is a strong individual, so this person is gonna have great posture. Footwork's gonna have to be great, obviously. So there needs to be some sort of martial arts situation. I kind of need to see like buff tones. I don't want to see like a scrawny Toph because that's not what Toph was when she was young.
That's true.
True.
Yeah, she was very well trained. The good thing though with the voice, like voice of Toph, she had like a high voice, so it didn't seem like
Yeah.
when she's first introduced, like you don't expect her to be tough because she sounds like a little like princess, or if she was right. She came from, I think she came from like a higher
Class, family.
Class,
yeah,
yeah.
she was a
Yeah,
Richie
yeah.
Rich.
but it was like really like the things she could do that were like, oh crap, she's badass. So like she didn't just earthbend, she like did it to like the best degree.
Right.
So I'm hoping they're able to bring that to life too, like that power, that like just I don't know. I think they can do it. Yeah, I think, but that's gonna be a part of it for sure. But you're right, Drake. Like a lot of it too was like that cool like. She like feels the earth, and you're like that daredevil like sort of thing. They gotta really nail that, but
Totally.
Got it.
yeah, she's definitely one of my
So,
faves too. So I hope they
it's-
do a good job with this.
They did a great job with the casting in terms of like the quirks and getting the looks kind of close, which other renditions have not done that. So they're par for the course in this as well. I mean, it's definitely a par 6. I would like for them to birdie this hole, but you never know, you know.
The high chance of burning the hole out of par 6.
Yeah. So
I think as far as casting goes, it has been pretty good. Like on the Avatar Last Airbender, I don't think there's anybody that was kind of miscast. Even Zuko by the end, I didn't love Zuko in the beginning, but he wins me over at the end of it. And I feel very strongly they're going to cast correctly. Now, can they deliver her personality from the show? Can they make us feel like she's a badass, like she is tough, like she does? She kind of has her little vulnerable side that she's not willing to show everybody. If they could do that, I'm on board. But yeah, I will just say, like in my personal opinion, just looking at the picture that I see on Instagram, it's not completely giving me Toph, but I think depending on how she acts, she could get there.
Yeah.
we're gonna see. April 22nd, 2026, right? Or I just made those numbers up, to be honest.
Did you? I was like,
Dude,
oh,
that was
shit.
pretty
He
good.
knew the date off his mind. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was talking to Scott about it earlier because Scott's a really big Avatar fan. It's probably one
Yeah,
of his
that's
like his
right.
number one things. And then
I'm an expert, dude, at all things.
Scott will be doing a solo video just on everything in Avatar Last Airbender, just because he's that big of a fan.
Yeah,
It's gonna
as
be called
Toph.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take my glasses off and I'm just gonna run it.
Put white contacts
just
in,
be
yep.
tapping around your desk while you
Just
think.
Tap it in.
Tap it and back to golf.
Back to golf. Here we go.
All right. Golf is
Speaking
the
of golf.
underlying theme of this.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're moving through it tonight. We're getting into some reviews, and right off the bat, a show dropped this week, and it's anytime you have a Marvel show, I think it gets a lot of attention because as much as people want to hate on Marvel right now, it still brings in a shit ton of people. Still a ton of views. And this was one that was kind of like, is this going to work? Is it not? But we got Agatha All Along based off the song that we got in WandaVision. And let's give our kind of spoiler-free reactions, and we'll start with Drake, and then we'll kind of go around.
Spoiler-free reactions. I was able to watch. I didn't know that they dropped 4 episodes at the time. I thought they were just going to go week by week, but there's 4 episodes out. I watched
2.
When you watch them twice?
Yeah.
Oh, there's only 2 episodes out?
Yeah.
The thing that I was looking at, it already named the next 2 episodes, so maybe.
No, the names are out for the 4 episodes.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. Well, then
Yeah,
I
but-
watched. Then I'm caught up then.
Okay.
Perfect.
Did you?
So- In watching it, I was like,
The last 2 episodes did not make sense.
yeah, I was like, what? It's just a blank screen. I was like, is this part of the math or? So,
They're long too, dude.
yeah, dude, it's
2
like,
hours
oh,
each.
The last 2 episodes were just literally Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, I was
Just
like,
switched
whoa,
over
what's
to
going on?
Max.
I was like, Catherine Hahn's not even in this show. So the tone, I think, from the beginning was really good. Then you kind of get to see some reoccurrence of some characters that you're familiar with. I liked kind of where it was going. Some of the characters were interesting. They kind of had to grow on me for a little bit, and then the story plot unraveled quite slowly. But it got me there. I think obviously the humor was the star of the show. And then there was a point in time where there was a little bit of singing, and I was like, whoa, Disney, par for the course. What's happening over here? But it really matched what was going on, and it climaxed into that. So it wasn't just like, just a number. It was going into something.
If the
So
number
that
was
was
7, then the number was
hey-o.
7.
Yes,
Seven,
the power of
seven.
many.
That's
and
friends joke
yeah.
for you guys.
all right, friends trivia.
Yes.
Are you
Nice.
a fuck Ben or?
Oh,
That
what?
was from earlier when we were talking. You said you were a band,
God
and
dang.
then I said, "Oh, you're a fuck band because you're."
Hey, remember golf guys?
Yeah, dude, golf.
Remember that callback? That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Definitely a par 6.
First 2 episodes, I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to get to see more of it.
Yeah.
Scott, tell us
Anyways.
about your spoiler-free review. I know, Agatha, you were looking forward to it. You were talking about it on the Instagrams quite a lot.
Yeah, dude, nonstop. You can't stop me from talking about Agatha, all right? It's I'm actually really liking the show.
Wait, Scott, could you stop talking about it real quick for 1 second?
Okay. Mayor of Easttown is about this. No,
You're like, I thought you were going to be like, actually, I can't stop.
I can't stop. I just lied to you. I will not stop. No, I'm actually really digging this show. I didn't know. I thought it was just gonna be okay, but so far it's like better than I thought. I don't know if you guys agree with that. It's really funny. You nailed that. Like, there's a lot of jokes in here that were actually like making me laugh louder than I thought. Like it kind of caught me off guard. Catherine Hahn is like hilarious.
Yeah, she's
Like,
good.
Yeah.
even just her little, I love all her little micro expressions and, like, especially when she's
Yeah.
talking to the neighbor, and it's great. Yeah, so far I'm really digging it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I think you nailed it. I came in with such low expectations for this show. Like, I was like, I'm going to watch it. I think at this point, everybody knows I'm such a big Marvel stan. I'm going to watch everything. I don't necessarily love everything, but I'm going to give it a shot. And so I had such low expectations. Who cares about Agatha? And I'm watching this, and it's going through the town, and it's going through the initial situation, and I'm like, I'm totally getting Mayor of Easttown, which was amazing. I love that show. And the way she's saying words is very much like it. And the way Catherine Hahn is doing her thing, and you're like, wait, why doesn't she really know what's going on? So there's mystery like WandaVision. And as it goes on, I'm like, damn, is this show good? but not just good. Like, is this show almost great? I was so blown away by how much fun I was having with this show. And it's not like a perfect 10. It's not like a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5 show, but it's like I'm having so much freaking fun with it. And it just perfectly matches the season we're in, and it was way funnier than I thought. Like, you know, I just went back and watched WandaVision, and that show is pretty emotional and it's pretty sad, but this show is fun. There's like jokes going on all the time. And to your point, Scott, like the way she's making the expressions, she's like punching. She's really trying to punch these jokes in there. And it works. It really works for me. So I dug this show. Yeah.
For sure.
So let's kind of briefly go through a quick breakdown of the show, right? We start in the first episode. We get this. She's still an illusion, mayor of Easttown. We see a body, very much looks like Wanda's. We don't get to see a face. And she's kind of going through Westview again, seeing the different characters that we saw in WandaVision, but now they have different roles. And there's a new character that shows up, played by Aubrey Plaza, called Rio Vidal. And she is an FBI agent where there's definitely some tension. I don't know if it's sexual tension. What do you guys think? Is it sexual tension or is it like just friends?
It's 100%. It's all the kinds of tension.
100% yes.
Yeah. It feels like there's both. Like, especially like Catherine Hahn, where Agatha gets her hand cut. And then Aubrey leaves with licking her hand. I'm like, whoa. And then it's healed. And I'm like, maybe that's how she heals. She has to lick you. But, definitely all types of tension, however you want to interpret it.
Right.
Sort of thing.
Right.
So if that's what they're going for, they're doing a good job. So it's like, we don't want to piss people off, but, if you could maybe see it here. I don't know.
You figure it out, which has definitely been a Marvel MO, I would say, for most of the MCU.
Yeah.
But yeah, a kid breaks in. She thinks that he's trying to steal something. She tracks him down, captures him, brings him in. He then recites a spell and seemingly busts her out of her like imaginary world. Bust it. Yeah.
The show was bussing, guys.
Yeah,
Watch it.
Bussin'.
Dude, last thing it needs is another Megan the Stallion twerking, and then people can get pissed off about this one too. But I will say that I'm digging Joe Locke's character. I think the internet is fully on board that it is Billy Maximoff, Wanda's kid. Even if it's not, the banter between him and Catherine Hahn for me is just working. Like, they both have like attitude. They both are kind of, Agatha's very sassy. He kind of is sassy right off the bat. And I don't know, it just like, as it goes into episode 2, I just really dig how they bounce off of each other. Are you guys the same thing? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I first was kind of, the character in itself was like, I was interested by some of the choices from a creative standpoint. I was like, in the moment I'm like, how is this complementing Catherine Hahn? And then as the dialogue moved along, then I was a little bit more on board. The way that they interacted together, because I've never seen this individual before, and so I'm like, okay, so can you stand up to Catherine Hahn? Because Catherine Hahn is like long-term, funny person in serious roles, etc., etc. How is this person going to handle themselves? And the dialogue along the way does get a lot better between them, and kind of finds their own place within like the meta of it all.
Yeah, I agree.
Stop.
Like, I wasn't familiar with Joe Locke either, but he has had like a pretty decent career in Broadway and then has moved over to a Netflix show. But I was like, who is this kid? Like, really? And you're right. At first you're like, okay, he's kind of just sassy, whatever. But I think as you get into episode 2, he really becomes like the motivation for her to keep moving on. And then now he's the one that's kind of providing some of the mystery too. And I really like that. It's like, we don't get to see his name, or we don't get to hear his name. We don't get to see him say some of these words and stuff. And it's like, it kind of has this magic spell over it. Are you guys in the camp that it is a M over his mouth or a W over his mouth, or both?
Oh, I didn't even think about it being a letter or something.
Makes
I just
sense
thought
to
of it
be
like a
both, though.
squiggle,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch. I don't know.
I wasn't looking at his mouth too much. I was looking at his nails.
His nails are amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If I had more fingernails, I'd probably paint him black. I dig it. But if you look at his mouth, To me, it looks like an M. So I threw
Oh.
out this theory on Threads. If you're not over there, come check us out on Threads. I threw out a theory that we got all this Mephisto rumors from WandaVision. And we obviously know that the internet seemed to be on board with it. Mephisto was a very popular theory. So I'm like, if you had the chance to do a WandaVision Part 2, would you not put in Mephisto? Knowing that he's already been cast as Sacha Baron Cohen, he's going to be popping up in another Marvel show called Ironheart. Why wouldn't you just have like a cameo? I am in the camp that thinks it is Mephisto.
Ooh.
But I know that the internet believes that it is AM for maybe Maximoff as his mom or Scarlet Witch. So I don't know, but I think it's Mephisto.
Could it just be poor makeup?
Or it's
probably is.
CGI. So no.
Well, what I like that just because like the whole Mephisto thing was such a big through line in the first season, and that was like a thing that kept kind of people talking about the show, other than it being good. But that was definitely one of like, is that Mephisto? Is that like every episode, right?
Yeah.
And if they could just generate that all over again, that's pretty brilliant. Like if like, okay, this time it's Mephisto, and then like the whole season they're talking about it, whether it is or not, like it gets people talking. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it just carries that on. So, and what was smart about this show too is that they brought Jack Schaefer back, and she had adapted everything from the comics and brought it to television for WandaVision. Not only did she write this show, but she also got to direct, I think, a lot of the episodes, if not all of them. And so I feel like I got that WandaVision feel from it too. Like it's Marvel, but it's very mysterious, and it's very like, it's more is unveiled as the episodes go on, which I'm a big fan of, and I feel like I'm getting that from here. But it kind of picks back up. He's still in the closet. Rio Vidal at the end kind of gets into this battle. She tries to she can't kill Agatha, and there's like weird tension there, and she knows she can't kill him. But as she leaves, Agatha kind of like decides to be herself and go down the witch's road, and basically the teen is still like locked up, and they go to find the rest of the coven. And I don't know, like I've heard some rumors, or not rumors, I've heard some people out there say like this show is going too fast, but I really appreciated that it kind of moved from episode 1 right into episode 2, and it just blasts through it, and like the pacing in the show is fun. It keeps things going. So
This is exactly what we need. Like, there's a bunch of shows we've got recently where the pacing was just like
Terrible.
Terrible, and then they get to where we want at the end, and we're like, this is terrible. And we want like this is where the show should have started, and we're not going to mention that show because we talked about it a lot.
But we might talk about it later.
Yeah, Acolyte. No, but
that show.
that it got to the meat and potatoes too late for me. But this, like, I like the pacing. I'm like, this is great. You get the team, blah blah blah. The writing's tight. It's funny. I like the characters, great actors, and then you're just getting to the thing. Like, this was perfect. The first 2 episodes sum up. Like, you don't have to be like, just get through the first 4, and then you kind of get what they're going for. Like, you can literally just tell people, like, watch the 2 episodes, the first 2. If you like it, cool. If you don't, then it's probably not for you. You can find out early. It's great.
Right.
And all shows should be like this, I think.
Yeah. It's tight. It feels nice and confined, and it moves, and I like the rest of the cast. And so I've never thought about, all these witches with different specialties, but I like how that's kind of rounding out the Agatha Avengers, if you will. Like, they all have their different specialties as witches, and she's kind of going in this different way and assembling this coven to walk the witch's road so that she can get everything she wants. And obviously you have legends in there, right? You have Patti LuPone, who is a legend on Broadway, who's done some stuff, I think, in 30 Rock, and she's just, like, really funny. And at first she just seems like a hack or somebody who's just trying to, get one over on them, and then instantly switches back into... no, I actually do know what your future's going to look like, or I guess what your past looked like, and somebody was controlling you. I love that kind of switch in there. We have Sashir Zamata, who was on SNL for a long time. I don't really remember her from SNL too much. Like, I do remember her being there, but I don't remember any bits from her. You guys remember anything from her?
She was.
I can't say I do.
But
there was a group. There was a period I didn't really watch a lot of. So
Yeah. She was. If you watch when oh my god, what's his name? Who does? Oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember his name.
Bobby Moynihan.
Shane Gillis. When Shane Gillis was on there, and he was in the Jamaican
The church.
church.
Mm.
I think she was the person playing the church person.
Mm. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm digging her too in this show. Like, she's great. I like that I know we're gonna list the other people too, but I like that all the witches, like, there's something that they're hoping to be able to get by the end of this world, but they also really don't trust her. So there's already this, like, it's not like they're like, yeah, we're gonna, like that Rick and Morty episode, like, we got to build a team. You son of a bitch, I'm in. You know, like, it's just like a yes and, like, we're just gonna build a perfect team. Like, they all, like, don't trust her, but they're like, they want their powers more than they trust her, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, they want that back. So it's like, you feel it, like, oh, I saw this eviction notice, and Patty LuPone's like, yeah, fuck, like, okay, I'll join your team. You know, like, they don't want to do it. It's great.
Yeah, no, you're so right. And then that's the other thing too. It's like, I had said this before the show was coming out. It's like, am I gonna root for her because she's a villain? Like, she's kind of, starts as the good person. By the end of it, we know she's a villain. Do I really care about this villain getting their powers back? And yet somehow I do. And because they're reluctant participants in this, it makes it better. Like, they don't want to team up with her, but to your point, like, they have to if they want the things they want. So, it's so good, and that does add another element, and it makes her also feel like a villain because she doesn't want them around, right? Like, they're throwing that coven party, and the teen, Joe sets up that whole sign for them, like, welcome coven, like pentagram and this, she tears it down, and... it's just like that. They have to be there because they need each other to kind of go on the witch's road. So it's smart. I think it's tight. I dig that.
Oh, and then they also, I know you were in the middle of kind of like listing all the people who joined her.
Was I completely forgot?
No, you're good. So we left off on Sashir. Then she goes to, I believe, Alian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's like the daughter of some, what was it?
She's a daughter of a witch, like an old witch that
like
seemed
an old
to
witch
disappear.
That's like, right.
Yeah, I don't know if her mom disappeared on the witch's road, but she seemed to like just have disappeared somewhere.
I think it was on the witch's road.
Oh, okay.
I think it was because then when they start singing later, I think like I don't know. She was like crying.
Yeah.
Out of everyone, and I wonder if it's because of that.
Yeah.
Like she knows like it's leading back to like this maybe the unknown with her mom and stuff. But
and her mom was like the rock star too, right? Like she's the rock star that turned the Witch's Road song into like a mega hit and stuff. Yeah.
I also love stuff in this show where it's like it taps into it being silly, and you like, hey, don't take it too serious. Where they're like, I didn't even give you my address. She's like, I used to be a detective. That's going to be the answer to a lot of questions later. Or something. And you're just like, all right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just yes and this, okay? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Dude, like, if you explain anything to me, like, you give me one line of explanation, I'm usually on board with it. And
just tell me how it
line
works. Yeah.
That
okay,
worked
cool.
for me big time.
You're an awesome detective. Or you were at one point.
You were, until you got kicked out. Now you work at a Hot Topic.
Yeah.
The writing has been surprisingly good, considering some of Disney's things recently haven't been. But yeah, I was very surprised by that. Like, hopefully Catherine Hahn had a lot of availability to improv some of it because she's just such a good, I think, on the spot individual.
Yeah.
She is. Even when they go into like seeing Leela Kaliru, Patty LuPone's character, she starts going into that southern accent. It's like, damn. Oh, sorry. That was pretty good. When she sees Herb after she wakes up from the trance, she walks like out naked to his gate and just like starts talking to him. He's like, "You've been a good neighbor, but man, you've been a little free with your boundaries," like kind of thing. And
yeah, dude, that guy's great too. Like I like that guy's funny. I love to like later flash forward when the young kid. It's funny, Joe Locke is just seeing his teen on this because we don't know who he is yet. But when Joe is like seeing like the I forget what they were called, but like one cloak figure and then it went.
Oh, the Salem 7.
The Salem 7, and it turned and the guy's like, first he sees the person, he's like, "Are you seeing this?" Like it's just funny because you don't expect the like the normal person point of view. Like you always see like, "Oh no, terror," and you're like, "Okay, I can see where this is going." And then they kind of like a normal person. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then they start. He's like, he just dropped his ghost. She's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I was like, this is great. Like, yeah, I like that. Just that extra perspective adds to it. You know,
Totally. And that scene is so well done because like, hey, they start with the song, and I'm like, am I gonna like this? No, like they can all sing pretty good. And it eventually gets better, but you're like, okay, it's very like witchy and chanty, and then it turns into Joe Locke is kind of like seeing the Salem 7 come, and they're super creepy, and he's dealing with like all this shit happening outside of the chant, while they're just like focused on making that door happen. And I liked how they were like setting that tone. There was like a certain score that was in it. There was certain things with the music that was kind of building up to it, and it just like that whole scene really worked for me. It was just was like real creepy and and just fun. I dug it.
I agree. And yeah, those Salem 7, they were creepy. Like how they're just appearing in the house and stuff. And he's like, oh, like after you're with him. You're like, get downstairs. Like it's crazy. I like too that Agatha, they kind of hear things going up. She's like, let's get this going. Like, let's start opening the door. Like they don't know that they're coming for her, you know?
Right.
And they might be caught in the crossfire. Like who knows? They might just come in and kill everyone. So,
killing
I
everybody.
like. Also, then we see before the whole song thing, like when they're recruiting, apparently there's another name on the list, and they're like, there's another name. She's like, no, it's the heart. It's colored in black. It was because you're using a black pen. I know who it is. I'll be right back. And then she just recruits her neighbor, Deborah, and like she's so funny. Obviously we know this, but like it's just so great. Like hearing her talk, and then like. I like when Agatha's like kind of explaining stuff. She's like, "Oh," and she's trying to inquire more. She's like, "We don't have time for details. Like, are you gonna come?" Like, it's just, it's so great, and I love that she's just there, and she's just like, I love when she's like, "Am I supposed to know this song?" Like,
I know, right?
They're all arguing, and she's like, "What's that?"
Yeah. Also, there's the point where it's like, who has to go high? And she's like, ooh, I don't do drugs. And it looks very much like the 70s show.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the way they're spinning it around.
Oh, fuck,
I was like, that's 100% a
think about it.
70s
That's
show
awesome.
nod.
Yeah,
Sure.
So she's been great. I'm so happy they brought her back too. But like other people that were in WandaVision who are just like people trapped in the hex now have different roles in Agatha's visions is like a cool idea. I was like, wow, respect.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated that. There was another joke too that I appreciated, kind of like for the teens banter and Catherine Hahn's, which was like they were in the car and he's like saying all these things and he was like, ooh, that's really good. Can you write that down? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she like grabs the he's like, it's pen in there and just tosses it out the window. I just like something
And then she's
about
like,
there.
Do you want me to hold that for you? You want me to? And he's like, no, I
like,
think I'm good.
I'll just remember it. Like whatever. Like like some of that shit was just actually getting me. I was like, this is funny. Like I dig this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dude, she's so funny.
She is.
Even like in the beginning when she's the cop, like so at first I wasn't sure how serious the tone was gonna be in the beginning. Like I'm like, okay, does she really think she's a serious cop? And she's like just the whole like, yeah, I'm supposed to be off duty, but they needed the best. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, and just everything was just so like over the top. Like, her lines of like, this is great. Like, she's just so leaned into that. I don't know. And it's like it's kind of subtle, but it's also it's extra funny because she's doing it. Like, you got to do it a certain way, I feel, and like, she crushes it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Again, like giving more praise to Catherine Hahn, but it's like she can do serious funny where you just believe everything you're saying, and then over the top funny. And I feel like she's able to do both in just a few short episodes. And it's like, damn, like they really let her run with this, and it's building out a character I didn't even care for in a lot of ways, nor did I care about her journey, but I do now. I care about the coven that she's assembled, and it's like, and now it's also just connected to a wider Marvel universe. You know, we're still in the multiverse saga, and I don't know about you guys, but as they're going down the Witch's Road, it feels very reminiscent to me, like Tao Lo, or the place that Doctor Strange goes to. There's like these different dimensions, right? And then we've seen even with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, as they're going through that space between the different dimensions, and he's trying to get the. It's not the Darkhold, because obviously we know about the Darkhold from this show, but it's the other book. Whatever that book is, you know, we see these different dimensions, and it feels very much like that. I think there's an opportunity for them to tie this into other dark magic properties in the MCU in such like a weird way that I wouldn't have guessed. but I'm like, oh, I could see this be a possibility. I don't know. Do you guys think about? Do you think that's a possibility, or where do you think they can connect this to the other parts of the Marvel universe?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty big switching gears, but like I don't know
No,
why.
yeah, but-
now that they're on the Witch's Road, I'm like, okay, how does this tie into the rest of the MCU?
I mean, it kind of ties into all the mystic arts type situation, right? Like, I know we have like the multiple realms, like the quantum realm, the mystic realm, then you have like
Yeah.
outer space type situations and all that
Yeah,
jazz. So,
I forgot about the quantum realm too, though.
yeah, I think it lends itself to like the different realms of power, or where we can see, individuals or other civilizations reside, and it does lend itself to a nice alluding to more mystery that adds a lot of flavor to what we're already seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too. Like I find this more interesting than multiverse sort of
Yes.
storyline. Like I like them diving into like other planes of existence that exist in the one Like,
Right.
like this is
Wow,
cool.
that's-
And then you can kind of do whatever you want.
Well said.
So yeah, I'm digging that. And I do see the, now that you mention it, like it does remind me of like the Doctor Strange thing, like them, especially like in the beginning of the second one. Like there's clearly like a road they were on, like trying to get that book or whatever, right? So I'm wondering like how many other like sort of relics and stuff like exist at the end of some like Temple of Doom situation that are out there. And,
Yeah.
like we'll get more of that. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. I also love like New Rockstars did a comparison. It feels very much like the Wizard of Oz. They're all going
Yeah.
down a road. There's a party. They all have things that they want. It's not necessarily the same thing, but they have to stick together to get there. Like it, if you're able to make those comparisons to things that are just so influential in pop culture, it's probably going to be all right. So, and I think they're doing it well. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
One thing I'm kind of hoping for at the end, besides the Mephisto and Sacha Baron Cohen popping up as Mephisto, is hopefully a nod to Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night. I would just be really stoked if they find a way to lean into
Incorporate.
those
Rewatch that.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like Werewolf by Night is very underrated, and I think it's a really fun like Halloween thing. And when that movie came out, I'm like, damn, this is way better than I imagined. And it's done by the guy who made all the music or most of the music for the MCU. It's just crazy. Michael
that's cool.
Giacchino. So it's like, yeah, if they can do that, I think this show will land on every way. But it like just blew my expectations out of the water. I did not expect to like this show at all, and it's like it's been a lot of fun.
I was wondering. I agree with that, but I was wondering at the end of the episode where you gotta take off your shoes and like walk down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think about it until you said Wizard of Oz. I was like, is that like a nod to that? Like the
'Cause
the
they're
witch
witches,
gets
yeah.
the smash, and then the only thing left behind was her shoes. Like
Oh yeah, maybe.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
kind of interesting.
The other thing that, again, New Rockstars pointed out, but I was really trying to look through it. If you look at the credits after each episode, there's a ton of hints as to what you're getting in the next episode. There is a part somewhere in the credits that says, if you want to be able to be in touch with the magic and really feel like the earth powers, you need to be barefoot. And then, boom, second episode happens. At the end, they all take off their shoes to walk on the Witch's Road. So there's like a ton of nods there. I'm trying to think of what else that they kind of leaned into. The music is a big key in. She hums it in the first episode. We get the full song in
Right.
the second episode. Yeah, just so like I also appreciate all these different nods to witches in our history, and something about witches, like obviously they go back to like old English tales, and every culture has their own witch tale, but this feels very like American magic in a way.
Yeah. That's funny you mentioned that too, the witches. Like there's a part where it's like they're referencing like how to kill a witch, like burn me, drown me, whatever, and they're like, oh, we still haven't created new ways to kill a witch or whatever.
Right.
Like I thought that was just kind of funny too.
Yeah, but also they've been mentioning it too. I think it's like Shashir's character or something. She even says like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Drown me with this thing?" So it's like they're kind of making references to different ways witches are affected in life or whatever.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like how they were through history, like treated like you're a witch, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like if she's not a witch, she won't drown or whatever the heck, and then the logic didn't make sense back then.
Yep. So yeah, again, solid episodes. Anything else that you guys want to point out in these first 2 episodes? Because yeah, I'm super on board with it. This has been really great.
Catherine Hahn's butt.
What'd you think?
I was about it.
I wish I could. I want to pull up that old joke of it, like, what's the grade? Where we were talking about Jennifer Lawrence, and you were like, yeah, I give it 2 C's.
Yeah.
But
Heyo.
yeah, hey, good for her. And it's not like I will say, I know maybe this sounds too woke or whatever, but like I do kind of agree with it. It wasn't done in a sexual way. It was done for humor, and
Yeah.
rarely like do women get to like pull out like a butt joke and it'd be funny, and it's just like funny. It worked.
Yeah, because she's like very aggressively just strutting
Yeah.
out there, like
Totally.
and so much so like the male neighbor's like, whoa.
yeah.
What are you
And then the
doing?
other
You
male
weren't-
neighbor was like, his wife's trying to bring him in. He's like, 1 second, babe.
Yeah, he takes
checking it
another
out.
guy, and then she's like, "Get over here!" Oh yeah, that was funny. And then she goes in and puts a robe on that was at the door. And you're like, "That's funny." Like she had
Yeah,
the
you
robe
could
right
have done
there,
that any time. Totally.
but
Yeah.
she just gives 0 Fs. So
Oh, last joke I want to point out. After she kind of like wakes up from the vision, she's like behind on the desk, and there's like tissue boxes for pedals, and there's like that workout circle band thing, and she's like, "Yeah, this not a car," and then just gets up and walks
that was
away.
so funny.
Like, that did crack me up. I was like,
I'm
"This is a good one."
driving. Yeah, this is not a car.
This is a car.
I found what I needed. It was scissors. Like she just grabbed scissors coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
ridiculous.
It was
Like
good.
because it makes you think. You're like, dude, they said 3 days, I guess, right? She's been pretending to be a detective.
Yeah.
So she's just anytime she's like go for a drive. How long is she sitting in that chair? Like,
Right.
because she went on long drives. She's just
Probably, right?
like a crazy person.
It was
great.
good. Yeah, they did so many things well. Sorry, one other thing popped up in my head was just like the WandaVision nods, seeing where WandaVision's house, or Wanda's house was, and she still spits at it. She still very much has a vendetta against her. Thought that was
Right.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Keep it.
Right on.
Also,
There you go.
because we're in the spooky time season, sorry, I know you
This
wrapped it up
is-
nice, but I'm gonna end your wrap up. Start a
Please.
new one.
Okay.
No,
Let's go.
the just talking about WandaVision, is it worth revisiting like this time of year? Like, was it a fun watch during the
Ooh.
spooky season and stuff,
Yeah.
or
You
was
know
it
what?
just more so like because we got it in January when we first got it, right? So it was like,
Yeah. I think it is because I mean it's emotional. It's very much more emotional than this is.
Okay.
It's very much about grief and sadness and loss and all those things, right? But then you get to the Evan Peters episode and Halloween episode, and it's a lot of fun, and it kind of puts you in that spirit, and the kids are all doing crazy things, and then it ends very Marvel way. So I was so happy I kind of recapped and watched that show going into this one, because you see the connections back and forth, and again, like, we talked about how influential Matt Shackman was as the same director for every episode of WandaVision. I think bringing Jack Schaefer back, who did WandaVision, to this is a right vibe. Like, you're able to carry that consistent vibe throughout the show. It's good. It's good. Like, if you want to get a little sad and not fully spooked, like, WandaVision is a great lead into the show, and they're syncing so well. And that's something
cool.
when you have a consistent vision throughout projects, right? And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I see that so much more going from that show right into this one.
Yeah.
well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but like I was happy I did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sick.
No
So
Well, last thing before we move on
Yes.
okay,
Hit me with it. Golf.
is let's fucking move on to Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Oh,
Okay.
buddy.
Let's go.
We all got it, and on the PS5s, and we all were like, "Oh, why don't we play it?" And then we're like, "Oh, well, it's made by one of our favorite, maybe all-time favorite game developers, Saber Interactive. We know them from World War Z. We like how it goes.
Maybe.
maybe,
Sorry, I was just thinking
right?
about
Maybe." And we started playing it, and man, is it a little bit more difficult than we thought it would be, but
Yeah.
addictive like crack cocaine or heroin. You know what I mean? you want to play the game more because you want to get better at it. You want to try all these different things. You want to see the different stories and the different how you can get your character better, because the way that you level up your weapons, the way that you level up your class, the way that you get more of the heraldry within the lore of Warhammer 40K, which is freaking huge. There's just so much to the game, and it's not behind a paywall. You don't have to do these crazy transactions. You just gotta put the work in, and why not do it with 2 of your other really good friends? Because they don't have 4 people. I don't know why.
Because you don't have a 4th friend, apparently.
Because we don't have a 4th friend, apparently.
Because that's the world right now.
That's the world. But it's fantastic. To be honest, it's gotten me into looking into Warhammer, the tabletop game, and apparently that's what's happening across the board. We're seeing a resurgence.
Oh, that's sick.
So, Kobe
We're,
had,
like in real life, like people are going out and trying to get the board game now.
For
because
sure,
of the video.
yeah.
That's pretty
like
cool.
video games just doing so well.
And
which
usually,
makes
like
me
your
really
local
excited.
comic book shop, or if like you got a bigger one, sometimes they'll have like those setups.
Oh yeah,
Like, I know,
looks
yeah.
super sick.
yeah.
But before I hand it off to you guys so that you can tell us about your experience, I just gotta say, Saber Interactive is making a Jurassic Park like survival game, and based off of this one and World War Z, I cannot wait to play that game.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We gotta get you like an early copy or whatever or something. But yeah,
That'd be crazy, yeah.
we're gonna do it. But yeah, this game was a ton of fun. It has those elements of Gears of War. It has those elements of World War Z as well. But a little bit, but just different, and it's unique. The way the life system works in it, I really like it in a way. It's just interesting, right? Like you have your health bar and then you have your armor bar, and like your armor bar goes down as you take damage, but then you can recharge it by doing finishers, or I guess like just specialties. Like if you do the gun attack where you push them back and then you're able to shoot them, I think you get armor back from that too, right?
I believe so, because it's like it's kind of like a finisher kill,
Yeah.
like a ranged one, yeah.
Right. So like building shield back based on like combo finishers is like a really sick concept. You have these floods of enemies. Your guy is just like a human tank. You also like, it kind of looks like Fallout a little bit with those big machines. And to your point, Drake, like the lore is so crazy. And for me, this is kind of my first entry into Warhammer. I'm not super familiar with the lore. I'm not super familiar with the fandom, but I'm digging it. It's like, it's just cool. Like, it's an amalgamation of like all these different things, and the weapons are cool. The customization in the game is pretty cool, and I feel like there's 6 different classes too, and I finally feel like I found a class that I'm like, this is how I want to play it. So yeah, it's been pretty sick. I had a ton of fun last night. What did you think, Scott?
I got to play a bit with Cole. I played through the tutorial, and we played through the first mission. Just because Kobe was playing on like the hardest mode, and as we know, the game's pretty tough. So then
he also hates fun. So
yeah, he loves punishing himself. It's well known, and we ended up going down to hard, like one below the really crazy one, and
nice.
I just gotta say though, that tutorial was hard to do on hard. Did you guys do it on hard?
No,
Nah, dude.
I just
Normal,
did it on
dude.
normal.
Dude, it was hard, dude. Because Kobe's like, I did it on hard. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And like, I just kept dying. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, okay, try and do this. By this time, you want to get this done. And I'm like, all right, dude. And like, but it was actually kind of fun because I ended up doing it. But it is, you got to get strategic with like, because you get a sword as well as a gun. And you can change it out later, but in the
Chainsaw sword.
tutorial you get like this chainsaw sword, and if you do this like dash attack, you do this like spin attack thing, and Kobe's like, just do that, it'll always stun one dude, and then you finish him off with a gun, you add your armor. So anytime I was like, what? So I had to rely. It was bananas. I finally beat it after like 10 times, and it felt so good to beat it. And then we went ahead and beat the first level because Kobe's like, this is as far as I got last time, and I couldn't beat it. And then we tried a couple times, and we beat it. By then, we're like, okay, let's call it a night. So I didn't get to the part where we got to like pick our class and whatnot. But the game is
any of the super fun stuff, but the
Yeah,
first
but
hard
it was
mission
already
great.
a blast. Like, it's kind of cool to think like, you know, like we got these PS5s now. The graphics are amazing. You got these hordes of enemies, and it can like take all that without slowing down. And And it's cool. There's like a cool parry system in it, which like you got to get used to the timing because some people have like ranged attacks and whatnot. And if you miss it, it's punishing. And you're like, God damn! Like I could just pick up a health pack. I'm like, yeah, I'm set. And then like I get rocked and I got to use it already. And I'm like, frick! Like, but it's cool. The weapons are great. Like there's a good array of different things, and I really wish it was 4 players. I'm hoping there's a mode where you can do that
Play
at one
more.
point. Yeah, like at least like some kind of horde mode or something where they allot the 4. But yeah, it's a good time though. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what we know to what Drake was saying earlier about this studio is that even World War Z, I don't know how many years, I think maybe it came out in 2018 or 2019, but they're still adding DLC now. I think if this game continues to do well, people keep picking it up, maybe, they keep releasing DLC, I think people will invest in it, and I think it will open the range of what's possible, because there's PvE, there's PvP in World War Z, so like I could see them doing that with this game. But yeah, I haven't quite figured out the strategy. All I know is that it's punishing, but not so punishing. You're like, I can't figure this out. And that's kind of at the point where I'm getting in Black Myth Wukong. Drake knows it. I can't get past the rock baby monster. I've tried to fight that thing like 30 times. I'm going to be level 100 by the time I beat that character. And it's in like chapter 1, like 20 minutes into the game. It is so freaking hard. And I'm just not good at those games. I'm not even going to front like I am. Like, that's so freaking hard. This game is challenging, but it feels doable. Like, you feel like, all right, with enough time and, like, if I have the right setup, the right class, whatever, I can pass this. And I dig that about it. Also, it's like, it feels like there is a real team element. In some ways, maybe not as much as, like, World War Z, but I can see when you have a good team how it's going to work, because the levels are kind of set up the same. You were talking about hordes of monsters coming in, and you see that a ton in World War Z. And they have that in this, but it's you're not necessarily setting up defenses, but like hopefully you've set up your character well enough to like handle your zone. So when we get more organized with that, it's just like it's well done. I to your point, Drake, I dig this studio. I feel like they really put a lot of effort into their games. I feel like they give a lot back to the people who buy their games, and I feel like they'll continue to support the game as people continue to play it. So all those things is like it's been a lot of fun.
They need to make T-shirts so that we can purchase them and rep them on the cast. Really,
Do they
don't have
not?
any swag. They don't have any swag on there.
That's crazy.
Damn. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
If
You
they
should email them
make swag,
with ideals.
Make swag, please.
With
Sincerely,
ideals.
Drake.
With ideas.
Please.
yeah, I'll make swag for you. You pay Drake. But I think
You pay Drake. That's me.
like again, I'm not super familiar with this studio, but it's like, are they not going to E3? Are they not going to, I'm trying to think of what's like a big thing that
Snap.
like a big video game conference or whatever, but they should. This game has been also kind of a sleeper hit after Black Myth Wukong. Been an awesome year for games already, and it's like I definitely want to go back in. Just started customizing my guy, and there's so much I need to learn about it, but it's like it really kind of hooks you right off the bat. So I dig this game.
Well, don't worry, because in October 17th of this year, we're gonna get A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead. We're gonna get a Quiet Place game out of them.
Damn. That's the same studio too?
It's a conglomerate. So this developer is Stormmind Games, but they're under the banner of Saber Studios. So Saber Interactive is a developer, but then there's a Saber Studios that has the Saber Interactive that does the actual development of the game. But I mean, if they're supporting whoever they're supporting, it's got to be good, because I mean, all their games are decent. Like all their games are decent. Evil Dead, World War Z, Snow Runner, Dakar Desert Rally. Like they've done racing games as well too. Like they're good.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great game. Definitely pick it up, and if you played it, let us know what you think about it, and how does it play towards the end of the game is what I'm kind of the most curious. I haven't done a ton of research on this. I'm kind of just letting it play out the way it does, but I'm definitely excited to kind of get towards the end game of it and see how you can kind of keep building up your character, or if you make a new character and you build up that class or whatever. But yeah, it's been fun. All right. Last bit of news. I didn't watch this at all. I don't remember who did, but we got a new episode of The Rings of Power. Whoever watched this one, give us the brief cliff notes on this episode, and we'll circle back next week and kind of hopefully catch up on the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, well, Scott, go ahead. I know Lord of the Rings is one of your favorite things that you've ever done.
I knew as soon as you said that, you didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But Scott, take it away.
Yeah, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, no, me and Drake were talking earlier, and we were both talking about how we're going to talk about this episode, and he had the best way of explaining it, so we agreed that he would take it this time. So
Yeah.
I just want to hold that up.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I really appreciate that. You're being super modest. I know that your knowledge is almost as deep as Kobe's, almost as deep as J.R.R. Tolkien's himself, but
Yeah.
Almost
to your
as deep as
point,
Mariana Trench.
yeah, almost as deep as space. And so, so in this episode, essentially, Anatar, who is Sauron, is kind of coaxing Celebrimbor, who's the original creator of the rings, pushing him a little bit more, using the power of him as one of the Istari, the wizards who come into Lord of the Rings, or I should say Middle Earth, and kind of helping him to make the rings, because Celebrimbor essentially doesn't want to, so it's a form of manipulation. On the back end, Galadriel was captured by the orcs, and they're trying to attack Edendil, where Celebrimbor is, so that whole situation is kind of happening. On the back end, we have Elendil, who is of the Numenors, and the individual who pushed everybody out of power and is trying to take power. He apparently is utilizing the seeing orb, and potentially is recognizing that Sauron is there, and that's kind of how they get into like the Dark Numenorians, where their civilization collapses, if you read the lore. And then on top of that, you have the Dwarf Kingdom, and during the fourth, who's trying to be like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, you're succumb to the ring. You don't own the ring, etc. And they're trying to kind of he's trying to kind of stand up for himself, but it's not really working. So all of the things that Sauron has done in terms of being able to create the rings and create a lot of this chaos inadvertently to create what's going to happen in the Lord of the Rings is taking place. And it's kind of cool to see how it's unfolding. It is kind of a bummer that like nobody's really listening or is really aware. It's kind of like that Mace Windu, Yoda. We haven't seen the Sith for hundreds of years, and they usually come in two, but it's not the case, etc. We know that things are going down, and in the next episode, we're gonna start to see the siege of. We're gonna start to see the siege, and it's gonna be.
Sorry, everybody.
Yes, Christina.
Yeah, the wife just popped in.
She's so sneaky, I didn't even see her.
Yeah,
dude.
she was wearing the ring and just turned
Yeah,
her
dude.
invisible. Yet I could hear everything.
Dragons. But in general, it's been going well so far. I mean, obviously, I'd like to see more action. I kind of want to see a little bit more character development, but not terrible. So it'll be good to check off the list if and when you do watch it.
Yeah, I'm interested in it because it definitely seems like Anatar is like pushing Celebrimbor past. He's way pushing him past his comfort zone, what he thinks is right, everything. Like, he's manipulating him fully at this point. We know that Galadriel is captured, but like, I don't have any fear about her dying because we know that we see her in like the following trilogy. So it's like, okay, I'm not super worried about that. Mm-hmm. Again, the characters I'm most invested in are the dwarves. Does this episode make us start caring about what's going to happen with the elves, where Celebrimbor is, with Galadriel? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It is kind of, you are starting to kind of see the separation. The dwarves are going deeper into the mine, and then there was kind of a little potential nod to Anatar or Sauron kind of getting a sense that a Balrog is close. The flame kind of flickers up, and he looks over at it, and that's kind of a nod too. So I think he knows that the dwarves are digging a little bit too deep, and that's kind of when Moria is gonna fall, and Durin is gonna have to leave and go to another mountain range, etc., etc. So things are definitely happening. You care a lot about it, but then you kind of don't get the grander scheme of what the dwarves are like previously. You kind of get that in The Hobbit, but not really, because they're still a people with no home. They're trying to get back to it, and then these are dwarves with homes, and then they're slowly like not being smart about it because they're being possessed by the rings, essentially. But there's an argument to be made that Nerd of the Rings does a really good job at discussing, which is you don't really, in the books, you don't really see Durin the Third like being like this weakling as compared to like he's getting controlled over by the ring. It more so happens by happenstance, and there's not as much of a powerful effect because dwarves are not men, right? So those are just some small nuances. I think they did it to add a little bit more drama, which is working so far.
Yeah, play it up.
Yeah, I like that. I will say, like, I think that's a smart move in the show. It's like the Rings of Power. They obviously said the name. It was like, yeah, okay, yes, that's the name of the show. We can hear it. But also, it's like it actually shows the power that each ring has, not just the one ring to rule them all, right? The one that Frodo wears. So I do like that aspect of it. Where do you rank this episode, like, in the season? And what, I hate ranking things on numbers, but like, let's say out of a scale of 10, like, how would you rank this episode?
In comparison to season 1 and season 2, there being 14 episodes total, 15 episodes total now so far.
Probably. But this episode,
I'd probably give it like a 5.8
out of 10.
Out of 10.
Oh yeah, I ain't watching this.
Well, that's all the time we have, folks.
Well, appreciate you with us.
We're gonna edit this part out.
To me,
No,
it was
not.
just a lot of exposition that we kind of already know. It's just the drama taking place and leading up to. It was a lot of edging. It was a lot of dialogue edging.
Bro, that's my problem with this show. It's just edge after week,
Yeah,
and things slightly move, but it's just all edge.
But eventually,
Some people are all about edge, though.
Yeah, eventually you're
I need to
gonna
bust.
get to a place where it's gonna bust. You know what I mean? You're gonna bust.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Well, I respect it. Like, I respect the direction they're trying to take the story. I really do like that. I think it's cool. Everything looks awesome. I just like want to be hooked. Like, I want to be like, God, what's going to happen next? And I still get that watching the old Lord of the Rings movies. And I go back and watch this and I'm like, God, just like, are we going to get there? It feels like a road trip when you're a kid and you're with your parents and you're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Like, just, I don't know. And that's just how I feel about it. I was hoping, your rating would be higher. I feel like if you gave me a 7, I might have
better than
checked it out.
half.
But
All right.
Yeah,
I
0.8 better.
What about like a 3 out of 5?
I like a 3. Okay, 3, no, because now you just half it in half. Like,
Yeah,
the
now you
math
just
ain't
round it up.
mathing.
Yeah, I'm just doing ratios and math, dude.
Yeah. What about a 1 out of 3? Like, I don't know now. No, it's, I stuck it all the way through for season 1. I don't know if I'm gonna make it for season 2, and that's a real shame.
Yeah.
And I feel like I gave it a shot. I really dug episode 1 of this, and it's slowly become more and more daunting. So I don't know. You have to tell me what next week's episode is about.
I would just watch the last episode, to be honest, because that's when majority of the climax is going to happen, Just
Yeah. And also, like, is it one of those shows where, like, you're going to get a big payoff because you stuck it out? And I didn't necessarily feel that way last season. I'm hesitant about this one.
Okay, so I would argue then, did Lord of the Rings win a lot of Oscars?
Lord of the Rings, like the
Yeah.
movies, the OG ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the OG ones.
Mm-hmm.
Did Rings of Power win any Emmys?
I don't know. I didn't see his
Did they?
name.
I don't
Let me turn
remember.
it back on you. Did they win any Emmys? Like, I have
you
honestly
tell
no
me,
idea.
bro.
Well, you know what, Scott? You're the one who's master of Emmys. I know that you've been to a few Emmys yourself back in 2021 and
you've received some,
2022.
you've given them out.
Yeah, you were actually one of the original architects of what the Emmy looks like, and
Yeah.
that it was gold versus silver. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you they didn't win any Emmys. I was there.
Yeah, I was there,
yeah.
and I didn't give them any.
They were supposed to get one, and I said no, you don't get one.
You want an Emmy? No.
That's the truth. I'm not lying.
Hey,
You should believe me. I'm the most trustworthy person
they're
in the world.
eating dogs. They're eating cats.
I like that. He has the best physical. I don't know.
There's this. Have I sent you
That
guys
is
the Instagram
Amazing.
videos of like them dancing to a remixed version of "They're Eating Dogs, They're Eating Cats"?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just so
I
funny,
don't know if I've
dude.
seen the dance, but I've seen some remixes.
I
and
will
they're
send you the
fire.
dances, dude. The dances
Send me
are
the
so
dances.
funny, dude.
Man, it's a gift that keeps
Oh
on
my
giving.
God, dude.
Well, all right, everybody. I think that's it for tonight. That was a fun episode. Obviously, I know we kind of went on so many different tangents, but hey, it be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm super happy to have a decent Marvel show, and there's just some cool stuff. So again, this is coming out a little later than, or maybe earlier than some of our other episodes. Normally they drop on Thursdays. It's going to be dropping on Mondays since all of these shows. Next week we'll be doubling it up with the Penguin as well, and then a Lord of the Rings as well. But yeah, and hopefully by then we'll have some new movies. Transformers 1. I think there's another movie as well that's kind of escaping me right now, but we'll have some other movie reviews out there. And yeah, this was a great one. So I don't know if anybody else wants to close it out, but yeah, any other?
Thanks for sticking it in us with us.
The Joystick Show.